Well, hey everybody, so this is the beginning of the project. As you can see, first thing I have to do is tear down the plastic. The last time I was here for a week, I worked extensively on the wood and everything on the front porch because there's a lot of problems. So I covered it up to keep it dry, and I think that was a good idea because there's evidence that it's rained like crazy here. So, first thing I got to do is work on the floor. I got to scrape and do a bunch of things on the floor. The outside is pretty much done, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Interesting thing, it's now the second week of September, and it's really different up here. So here's what's interesting. It's September 15th, and there's the point over there, and you can see it's overcast, and this morning it was, when I got up, I thought it was really early. I thought it was like 6 a.m., but it was really almost 9 because there's just hardly any daylight. The other thing, as you can see, is there is nobody up here. Literally, there's nobody going towards Staples and the Geigers or going down that way. There's nobody here. Across the way last night there were no lights or anything. Also, the water has become absolutely freezing cold overnight, it seems, since just a month ago. So staying up here could be a challenge because it's kind of freaking gloomy. Now, one of these days I hope the sun comes out, but if it stays like this a lot, I can understand why, those Arctic explorers went insane from lack of sunlight or gloominess or whatever, because it's about 50 degrees this morning, and that's pretty cold. So we'll see how it goes. It's good weather for working though. So, all right, back to the cottage, back to the front porch. Okay, so now a quick look at the various problems we are facing, and I think you Geigers have to think about this stuff as well, because these places are 90 years old and they were built by a group of guys, right here. But amazingly, this cottage is in great shape. I would say 90% is pristine and wonderful. 10% is pretty run down, and I'm fixing that right now. But the biggest thing is the porch, and let me show. As you can see, the side, which is wood, is there's a lot of peeling. So I don't know if they use the right undercoating or what, but I'm going to do at least 2 coats, one with a very powerful primer underneath that's going to fill all the wood and everything. Then all of these boards that went around were all rotten, and I had to replace, and luckily we had these big, huge, beautiful boards up in the attic, which my dad had milled from a big log, and they're perfect. They're actually wider than the ones before, so once it's done you'll be able to set a drink on here, because before you couldn't. But the sides are, kind of bad. And then, as you come around, this is the part that's really bad, which is the front. And this is obviously where weathering is going to take place the most, too. But, as you can see, the paint is pretty much completely off. The wood is in bad shape. I've had to seal it big time. In a lot of places, I've had to replace quite a few boards. And then when you get over here to the middle, I had to redo the whole center part because all that wood was rotten and these poles and everything were all bad. So I replaced them with some good stuff. Right now it doesn't look too good, but once it's painted, this stuff is going to be great. It'll be nice and clean. Again, over here, rotting wood and stuff, which has been fixed and cleaned up. Here's some more that's been replaced. Up here, this one, I had to replace these boards, all of them, and it turns out there's just one 2x4 underneath there, holding up the whole quarter front of the house. So I added more wood and made it so the weight is sitting on this new board that's inside there that I put. So now it's, in theory, twice as strong as it was before, and it should be fine. Again, more of the sides and more of these boards I had to replace. Underneath, you can't really see it, but underneath is remarkably clean and neat after I cleared out about 90 years worth of crap the other day. So, and here's the part I'm going to start on. As we get inside, you can see before there was this green carpet down, and the green carpet was placed just over the top of the wood. And these boards are all in serious need of being scraped and cleaned up and everything. So the next thing I'm going to do is scrape all these boards, fill in all these cracks. So this, when I'm done, the whole front porch is going to be airtight, basically, from bugs and crap. So here's all the screens. I'm going to redo all these screens too, because the screens are bad. And as you can see down this way, again, hopefully it's going to look like this but nicer when it's done. So, and as you can see, there's a lot of, maybe a little tricky to see because it's so freaking dark up here. But see, this part's pretty much ready to go, and I've filled in literally everything. So I've got to do that for the whole porch. Okay, so next adventure, fixing all that crap. Okay, so this is the part that sucks really bad. I have to scrape all this paint, all this chipping paint, and there's, as you can see, there's like 200 square feet, I calculated, give or take. Once we scrape it, then I got to clean it up, then I got to fill all the bottoms, finish filling the sides, then we're going to put some underlayment wood on top of this, which will really change the whole dynamic up here. It'll be much more stable, sturdy, it'll be smooth on the bottom. It'll help kind of even out some of the spots where the things have eroded a bit and there's some sagging and whatnot. Luckily for us, we do have some erosion issue and some problems, but luckily, I don't know if you can see this, but it's really only the facade, about maybe from here over to the front. So maybe 2 feet has kind of gone down about, well, looks like maybe 2 inches. It's quite a bit. See this board sticking up right here? It's bowing because over here it's forced down. And as you can see, it goes down quite a bit. And there's a, I don't know who did this, but somebody put cement in here to fill this big, huge gap. And normally you don't put cement on wood. So that was kind of a booby rig fix. As you can see, there's quite a bit of work here, scraping and stuff. And all of this was just kind of hidden underneath, layers of paint, carpet, whatever. They didn't really fix the core problem, but that's okay. I'm going to go back and do that now. That's why I'm here. So again, when you're looking at that erosion issue, it's only about the front 2 feet of the cottage has gone down a little bit, and the rest from here all the way to the back seems to be fine. So it's just the front. So that's not too bad. That means the place is still pretty level. It's just got this bow in the front. And here again, you can see some of the wood I've replaced. I still have another piece I have to put there. So quite a bit of work to do. That's okay, shake my head, I'm not sad, and just maybe I'm too blind. It's funky. The XM satellite it doesn't have a button, it has a touch sensor, the powering on and off, so with the glove on I couldn't turn it off. Oh man, technology is so cool. I wish technology could help me do this job, because this sucks, as I told you before. Whew. There's 90 years of paint, grout, raccoon droppings, God only knows what else. So it really needs a good makeover, which it's getting. So we're not just putting lipstick on a pig here, we're going to really, it's going to be nice. There's some big gaps I have to fill. Well, actually I have half of it still to go. But the gaps and things, I got to fill that. If I get that done today, which I think I can, on both sides, get everything filled, let it dry for 24 hours, then the next step is to paint. So, right now, I got to get to part 2 of this. But I'm going to take a few minute break, and then we'll get started. Look at hail coming down. Look at hail. Isn't that wild? Okay, so here we have part 2, which is this half. I did notice something, again being just a layman, but the wood is more beat up near the front versus over here near the cottage, which tells me that water gets in here, because we just have screens, water gets in here and it pools there, and that's bad. So my choice is A, figure out a way to level this out and make a drain or something, or B, seal the porch so snow does not get in like you guys do. And I think the latter is the way to go. I think I need to figure out a way to seal it. And I brought some big blinds, Venetian-ish kind of blinds that were at my house I wasn't using, some big ones. I'm going to see if I can maybe put those over these windows, and it'd be an easy, convenient way to just at the end of the season just pull it down, something like that. It's kind of a test, but something like that might be really cool in the future to have, make it easy to open and all that. So, unfortunately, now I got to get to this. But this half isn't as bad as that half. I don't know exactly why. It would seem to me like this half would be worse, but what do I know? So, off I go into scrape land. Here's a little side anecdote for you. As I'm standing here on the porch, I remember when I was a kid, I don't know, 10, 12, something like that, sitting on the swing, which is normally right here, and my dad fell out of that tree right there, but he was way up there where you couldn't see him. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw him go boom and land on his back right there, because he was sawing off, see all these limbs? It must have been like right here. He was sawing the limbs and the limb broke and he fell. And he got up and he just kind of walked over there as if nothing happened. And never spoke of it, never complained of a bad back. Unbelievable stuff. Okay, so after scraping, forever it seems, you have to go through with the best tool ever invented, the shop vac, and you literally have to go inch by inch and sweep everything up, which is where I am in the process right now. So, the next thing I have to do is multi-fold, but here's an interesting one. I've got a piece missing right here that I got to replace, and it's not hard to do because I actually pulled the piece off, more or less, and I can just copy it and replace it. But there's your 90-year-old piece of wood right there. Happy birthday, wood! So I got to replace that. Then I have to go through, I'm going to put some screws down to hold these better. Got to go through with a hammer and nail down any nails that are sticking up. So there's a lot to do. Okay, so here is the piece that I cut to replace the other one. And whenever I replace a piece of wood like this, I've been using liquid nails and other fillers and stuff behind them, so and screws instead of just nails. Everything else is just nailed in. And using screws will make these last forever and ever and ever. So, hopefully. And then they have to be painted and everything too the correct way, which I'm going to do, and voila! Yay! Okay, everybody, it's day 2. And unfortunately, the bad news is, yikes! We're in the upper 40s today, which makes it really freaking cold. If you look out here, the wind is blowing hard from the north and there's huge waves, and oh my gosh, the wind is just biting. Well, be that as it may, as you can see, got everything all sealed up. So the next step is I'm going to put this thin laminate wood across the whole floor and then seal it again. So basically this floor is going to be super strong and totally airtight. And then also I have to do that half over there as well. So, alright, I'll report back. A little side note for you Geigers, here's your boathouse with the bottom part rebuilt. And it looks super sturdy. And it's going to last for a long time, and it's got a nice walkway to go out and stuff. Here, I'll show you just a sec. So now I know why those women in those old photos always wear bloomers, because it is freaking cold. The wind is just biting. Oh my goodness. Well, sorry. I mean, they used to not have any electricity, for God's sake, and they still survive, so I guess I will. All right, well, here's the walkway around the... It's the walkway over here. It goes around the corner a little bit. And then over there you can see where the other side's been fixed, and there's a walkway over there as well. So that's pretty nice. And this is pretty high over here, but that's okay. And your dock is looking fine. But the strange thing, again, being up here at this time of the year, is there's literally nobody here, not a person anywhere. It's just very eerie. You could become kind of a, a mountain man. I have to be careful to call people and talk to human beings once in a while. It's just really weird. Okay, back to work. Well, I was complaining before about how cold it is, and it's still pretty dang cold. But then now it's about 1 in the afternoon and the sun has come out and it's just freaking beautiful. Sorry to use a sort of bad word there. It's just really beautiful. Now it's still cold, but it's beautiful. I mean, just look out here, it's great. The sun actually feels kind of warm. I was just listening to Led Zeppelin in all nature's splendor. It's pretty darn nice. Well, back to work. Hey everybody, so taking a little bit of a break because everything is done except now it's time to start painting. It's Wednesday morning. That's around noon, so I'm letting the rest of the afternoon everything to dry and finish up before I start painting tomorrow. And today's a great day. It's actually 60, maybe even pushing 65. The sun's out. It's really nice. So I went on a little mission to see if I could find a way to get to the Back Lake, Scrabble, Sheldon, all those, without going to the end of Black Lake in a boat. And I actually went to the Minden tourism place, and they sort of knew what to do, but they gave me a map which shows the Ganaraska hiking trail, which apparently is like the Appalachian Trail in the United States but on steroids. Here it's just through the wild basically, and it goes all over Canada. But this section right here allegedly meets up on the other side of Black Lake, where normally we connect to Scrabble and all those other places. In theory, I've got the map. But so what I'm going to do, and unfortunately it took me forever to find this because this is off of this little dirt road which you can't see, but there's a dirt road back here. It's Black Lake Road. It goes to Black Lake. So partway through the road is this trail just out of the blue. And you can't park anywhere around here. It's really inconvenient, so I had to park up there a ways and walk back. But so I'm going to time it, see how long it takes. Unfortunately, I think this route almost doubles how long you have to walk, but it may not be too bad. I'm going to go at my full speed ahead speed, which is pretty fast when I'm walking. So I'll give you an update. So this is just freaking amazing. Here you have a waterfall. It's beautiful, and the rocks and how it flows down through here. This is just amazing. Well, unlike the hobbits in The Lord of the Rings, I am giving up the quest. I think I'm about halfway through this new trail, and I've come across what you see in front of you, which is swamp as far and wide as the eye can see in any direction. And I think I have to go all the way around that somehow, and the trail has pretty much vanished at this point. So I don't want to get, I'm not going to get lost, but you sure could if you were not careful. This reminds me of what's that planet where Yoda lives, where he goes, yeah, that planet. Reminds me of that swampy planet. Because literally it goes as far as you can see. So this is nature's splendor, but this is too much. Good morning. Look at that beautiful sun. Yeah, it's about 7:30 in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be a really nice day. Well, that's good because today's the day we get to some serious painting. So, I've already got a little bit done on the front, on the facade. The next step is, I've got to do the inside here and take a look before I start painting. Basically, I've reworked a lot of this wood and everything. As you can see, it's completely sealed, hermetically sealed. No bugs will ever get in here or anything. Redid the floor. I don't know, it may be hard to see now, but it used to be over by the door there, I mean, there was almost a black hole that you could break your ankle in. It was so deep and warped. And now I got it straightened out pretty good. It's still not perfect, but to make this floor perfect, you'd have to basically rebuild the whole thing from scratch. There's no other way to do it because it's just too warped. Everything is warped. But after 90 years, surprisingly, it's in really good shape. It's just needs a bit of a spruce up here. So today we paint. Yes, a nice warm fire here in Canada. Unfortunately, it's kind of a necessity at this time of the year. But a little side note on my painting project. I was setting up my XM radio right next to pictures of our ancestors from the 1800s and the early 1900s. And if you look at their technology and then you look at ours, it's just amazing how things have progressed. This little thing, it's all touch. There's no buttons. This little receiver I can take out and use it anywhere. And it comes with a little antenna for the satellite. And all I got to do is, on their website, it tells you, you know, based on your location, which direction to point the thing. And I know that to be south, so right out this window I'm going to put it. And I can listen to music and stuff from all over the world, beaming from New York City instantly. It just boggles my mind. These people, it took them like 2 weeks to get here. Just to get here. And I can hear everything that happens now instantly. And that's how fast the world has changed. Sorry to digress, but that just blows my mind. It was a great coincidence. Alright, so the first coat of underlayment, paint, primer stuff is down. As you can see, it's blocked the colors pretty good, but this is giving you an idea of what it's going to look like when it's done. Significantly better than it did. Remember, this spot right here was all rotten and garbage and holes and yuck, and now it's fine. And over here, these boards were in bad shape, and they're all nice and smooth. You can't tell that there was any bad problems with those at all. And we've got these nice big new bench things for the side, which are actually now big enough. When the screen's here, you can actually put a drink and things on here. Before it was only like that wide, so there was no place to put anything, which is kind of too bad, because out on the porch you need a place to set your drink. So it's looking good. Okay, so I'm back for round 2. I went home to see Ann, get some supplies, do laundry, and see the Michigan State game, and they lost to Notre Dame by 3 points or 4. I've seen them play probably 30 some odd times, and so that game is always close, and it goes back and forth, and we've done better recently. Well, whatever. But I wanted to point out a couple things. When you come up at this time of year, when there's nobody around, there are cons. For example, there's no one to play cards with, and there's no one to talk to. But there are pros too, and I'll show you what one of the pros is. You can dance. And no one knows. Unfortunately, yes. That is frost. Oh dear. It's kind of chilly today, but the sun is out. Ooh, that'll blow out the lens. So it's quite pretty. So it's going to warm up and be really nice. So the whole side is painted over here. And now I'm moving to the back, where unfortunately I had to do some excavation. I had to dig up every bunch of stuff back here to get down to the wood. And when you're doing construction or whatever, at least in my opinion, digging and all that is the hardest physical labor. So that kind of wears you out. And over here, I'm cleaning this up for painting. But we've got a real water problem because everything drains down this hill right to this corner of the cottage. That's the low spot. And I don't know how to fix that, but we'll figure something out. Here's something you don't see every day. The doors are off the back here. And the window. See? And over here, this may seem odd, vain, whatever. I got this mirror. So what I can do is, with this mirror, a little bit later on, when the sun moves over, the sun hits this mirror and blasts down here to help kind of dry it out, because the sun just never gets back here, which is why it's all kind of yucky back here. So still got quite a bit of work on the back of this area, and then a lot more prep work to do. So luckily we don't do this too often, but it's great. It's great. With the sun out, it's wonderful. It'll warm up. Being back here has reminded me of a little side story for this video. This tree right here, or at least I mean the stump, this thing right here, was a pretty big tree that went up. Unfortunately, it was right behind the cottage, so, and it was leaning a little bit, so we had to cut it down. And it's probably, I don't know, 2 feet across at least. So my dad's sawing it down there, and up the hill, way up there, I'm at the top with a rope around a tree, pulling on it with a pulley to make it fall down. Well, he's sawing it, and suddenly, instead of just going timber and falling down, it went crack, bam, and came down like lightning fast. And so I had to jump for my frigging life. Let me walk up here. Where was I? I was way back here. Okay, where is it? Oh, right here. See, I had to jump off that cliff, which is about, I don't know, 10 feet high, maybe 12, over into the forest, because the tree, which was really tall, was coming right at me. So I took 2 steps and yeehaw off that rock over there. Oh my gosh. Guess that's when you're young, your bones are made of rubber, right? A beautiful Sunday morning here on Moore Lake. It's now getting to be the end of September, and you can start to see trees changing colors, which is really quite pretty. And you can also see the cabin has changed color. And I want to point out, I have some more painting to do today that involves the ladders, which is a real bummer because I'm afraid of falling. See how I have to rig it up? Here's a ladder here, and then 2 ladders up there that are lashed together, so they can't go anywhere. So it's very safe, but it still is scary. Oh, but look at that sun. Holy smokes, that's beautiful. So it's going to be a nice day. Check it out, a genuine Canadian maple leaf. Isn't that cool? And if you look around, since now it's fall, they're all over the place. Really pretty colors. It's October 1st, And the trees are changing like crazy just in the last 24 hours. And look at that. The maple tree has dropped the Canadian maple leaves. Well, unfortunately, I got to wrap things up. The weather's kind of bad. It's been raining and stuff, and I got stuff to do. So, I'm done for now. And let me give you a quick tour of what all has been done. In the back here, we've got one coat of primer. Obviously, it's not completely covering everything, but that's okay. We've got primer, and we've got all this back here is all done. And underneath is all done. Well, it's not all done. Needs another coat. Back here, I dealt with the drainage issue, and it's got one good coat on here. Which, let's see. So looking that way, you can see it looks pretty nice. And then over here, this side, we've got one coat of primer, same with over here. And in the front, the part that's done the most is now all the wood is back in place. The screens are not, but they will be. That's the next step once this is completely complete, is to put the screens in. And I've got the screen material to do that. But this part has 2 coats of paint and is pretty much done. This is the front porch. So it looks pretty nice. It doesn't have any of the highlights or anything, the green or whatever we're going to do. But we'll have to see how we like it. But I think this is great. And again, it's going to save the place for hopefully generations here. So it's been a lot of work. Eventually the floor will be put back and everything, and this is going to be really nice. So I leave you with this final look at fall over Moor Lake.